You know, a lot of other trading card game players like to mock Yugioh players in the West, for continuing to support this company because, in my honest opinion, they treat them like dirt, with pricing you out with hand-trapped staples like Dominus Impulse and Dominus Purge. For a while there, the pricing was completely dog shit. In this case, though, Konami thought it was a brilliant idea in the TCG to try and kill Edison format. That happened, and then within a couple hours, the community made an uproar about it, making so many videos about it, calling them out, and Konami saw this and went, oh crap, yeah, let's walk that back. But what was going to happen was there's something called player priority. So what happens with player priority in this older format is, let's say I special summon Judgment Dragon, or not Judgment Dragon, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the Beginning. I activate. Let's say you chain Compulse. So what would happen is my effect would still go off and your hand and field would be completely ripped and banished. So your Compulse would effectively be useless because of that. Well, Konami thought it was a good idea to remove that, to remove player priority. Not only that, they would force you to play with the current erratas. So stuff like Ring of Destruction, which its new errata sucks, by the way, they would force you to play with that as well. And I am glad that Konami decided to walk that shit back, because that situation would have gone really ugly for Konami. So I will play a couple clips for you explaining what happened with Konami's baffling decision to try and change Edison format.
Back from Crow's Nest, and we have what appears to be some really bad news about Edison format and Time Wizard in general. So I'm just going to get right into it. I was sent this. You can fact check me. Maybe this whole video is garbage, but I've seen it multiple places that Konami, starting with the North American World Championship qualifier, for the Time Wizard events, this bottom line is the most important part here. Starting at the NAWTQ and moving forward, presumably, current game mechanics and current card text will be used for Time Wizard events. Now, you might be wondering, what does that even mean, right? Well, current game mechanics like maybe no turn player ignition effect priority, basically what people in Edison just call prio. Well, that doesn't exist in the current game. So that will not be in Konami Edison events anymore. And who knows, that might also affect at your locals. If they run a Time Wizard, is Konami going to threaten that store's OTS status if they allow you to play with prio? Like it was in September 2010, or April 2010, I should say. It's kind of ironic that they would call the format April 2010 and then not play by the rules of April 2010. But an even bigger thing, arguably, is the card text. Because let me just get into it. I'll just go through every single card I think might be affected by this. And I think you'd be shocked at how many huge changes this will be. I might have to edit that out. So I have a list of cards here that I think very good chance that they are affected by these changes. So first of all, no priority. Well, that means you can't normal substitute and immediately attribute it off to get a swap frog. You also can't normal substitute, attribute off something else, right? You have to normal it and then ask your opponent if they have a response before you can activate the effect. Pretty big. Same thing with Gale. Your opponent has a Stardust. You have to normal Gale and ask if they want to do anything before you can activate the effect to have the attack of Stardust. Lone Fire Blossom, you cannot normal it and tribute it off. Same as Substitute. You have to normal and wait. That means that, you can normal Substitute and they can just activate Torrential right there. Same with Lone Fire. Normal Lone Fire on an empty board, they just Torrential and you don't get your Titanial. You don't even get to fill up your grave, right? Lumina, once again, can't priority pitch. Same thing with Grepher. You cannot, in fact, Grepher, it's especially bad because you normal Grepher and there's no prio, so they can just hit bottomless, and then you're sitting there with Sirocco and Vayu in your hand, can't do anything with them. How about Judgment Dragon, right? Is it following me? I don't know why Dueling Book is being weird, but Judgment Dragon. You summon Judgment Dragon, and you don't get to immediately blow up the field. And I understand those of us who hate playing against Lightsworn are kind of maybe going to be okay with that, but it does kind of hurt the deck significantly if you summon Judgment Dragon and they just go Book of Moon, and then just run it over or pop it somehow. Darkroom Dragon, same thing. This one I'm totally okay with. It probably shouldn't have prio. Book of Moon. This is just a card that, because nothing has prio anymore, Book of Moon is just insane now. Red Break, same thing. Like, if they synchro into Brionac, you don't have to ask for prio. You can just pop the Brionac, and then, well, nice job. You just spent like 6 levels of material for nothing. Compulse, same thing. In fact, that's even better into Brionac. Mig Brionac, I have like my Mizuki I'm ready to pitch. Sorry, actually, it's going back to the extra deck, and you don't get anything out of it. Or I can just bottomless the Brionac, and same thing happens.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know by now that Konami has kind of officially killed Time Wizard. So on their public events info page, they've said starting at the NAWCQ, current game mechanics and current card text will be used for Time Wizard events. So that means basically that the main thing is priority's gone, and a lot of the erratas for old cards will be put in effect. So, like, that's really crazy. Me and Fraser have talked about this on a rush hour before, but also just I've talked about it with a few other people, and I feel like overwhelming majority of Edison players right now are just baffled by this decision. Like, I'm just really upset about this, honestly, because it kind of kills the format. Like, the format is now just a completely new format, like without priority and erratas of lots of cards. Like, I have these cards up here that I like initially thought of that I have erratas that change how they play. Like, this format is just going to be a different format. And DD Crow is because, like, in Modern, like, if Dandy gets sent to the graveyard and you chain DD Crow, like, Dandy won't even go off because it's not in the same spot on resolution. So, like, DD Crow will change a lot of cards, how they interact and work. And then, like, down here in the side deck, I have cards that, like, priority is gone. So all these cards are a lot worse now.
I will leave a description for the videos you just saw. Shout out to them. They're the ones that covered it in depth, professionally, how the Edison format was going to be ruined. Now, Konami walked it back because they're like, oh, crap, this is just so much backlash. We got to roll this back. I'm glad they did. But, yeah, I'm still retaining that current modern Yugioh format. It's still boring. Okay? I'm not changing my opinion on what I think of new Yugioh, but I'm glad at least old school Yugioh is preserved. That's a good thing. Let me know in the comments section how you feel about this situation, if you are into this trading card game, that is. All right, see ya for now.